Welcome once again. Protests have erupted in some states in the country, and this is as a result of the new CBN cash swap policies. In Edo State, the main entrance of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Benin City was blocked over the scarcity of the Naira notes. And in Abeokuta, for everyone who saw videos yesterday, residents rushed into the roads and streets over biting scarcity of cash. It was reported that one person was shot during the protest. Those who joined the protest in these two states were said to be civil servants, residents, street urchins, and vendors, including food sellers. Today on the show, we would like to hear firsthand from the workers how they're coping with transportation, with food, with lives, with surviving as a Nigerian. We'll also look at the fake communique that was released by Ipman about the lingering, the possibility of a fuel shortage and, of course, the lingering fuel crisis. Now, joining us virtually on Election Countdown Nigeria is energy expert Adeola Yusuf. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be on the program this morning.
Interesting to see you in your car this morning. It's obvious that you have petrol. Congratulations. You're one of the lucky few Nigerians who have petrol to drive around. But I want to talk about, first of all, understanding the reasons for the scarcity. It's been on since at least November 2022. I've said it before that this is the first time in a long time that we've seen a few days to the elections and the government has not done much to ease the suffering of Nigerians. So let's first of all try and understand the reason behind the scarcity.
Okay. Good morning again. And for the fact that you are at work this morning shows that you are one of the fortunate views. Okay, so having said that, who got fuel? Having said that, it's rather very unfortunate that at this moment of our history as a country, we'll still be talking about fuel scarcity. It's important that I lay some facts bare. Number one, Nigeria is still the biggest exporter of crude oil. And, there cannot be petrol or whatever product without crude oil. So on the continent, as of this morning, we are still the biggest, producer of this, and exporter of this, crude oil. Rather unfortunate that due to a long period of military rule, a long period of abandonment of turnaround maintenance for refineries, all the refineries we have as a country, the 4 of them are not working as we speak. So when you have a crude and you don't have a refinery to refine it, we have subjected ourselves into exporting this crude to refineries abroad and going to those refineries abroad to now buy, refined product. No matter shape or no matter narrative you want to give to this issue, the major cause of this is, inadequate or lack of refining capacity by Nigeria. We are not refining the product, and we are creating opportunities, jobs, and all that for other countries. Having said that, coupled, with this is, the politics, the lack of patriotism on the part of everyone, the ruler and the ruled, and so on and so forth. So all these ones have now, come together to now bring this, hardship onto Nigeria again. Oftentimes, you notice that when this fuel crisis started, there was this, what we call conspiracy of silence. No one was talking about it until, Platforms Africa, a news website, started, publishing this story before everyone else started talking about it, because everyone was just behaving in Nigeria as if it was just
a new normal.
The normal thing. Yeah, the new normal. So, yeah. But we know that it is not the new normal. It's not. There's nothing normal. Nothing should be normal about fuel scarcity in a country, that has abundance of crude oil. So yeah. All these ones are now what has brought about this hardship onto Nigerians.
Well, Mr. Yusuf, if you, like you said, we've had a very funny way of refining petrol, even if we, of course, have refineries here that are unfortunately not functional. But this has been the process for decades now. Isn't it shocking, that that the level of scarcity we're seeing now is coming a few weeks to the elections? If you remember in 2014, The government then, just before the elections, reduced the cost of petrol, to appease Nigerians and to make them maybe find more favor in government. But the current administration has done none of, of the sort, and instead we're seeing it biting harder, even finding Nigerians finding it difficult to get, the currency, the naira. So would you agree with those who say that the petrol scarcity is intentional?
Okay, from day one, because of those facts that I've labeled, availability of crude oil, availability of their, human capital, availability of all those resources, it is intentional that this hardship is being brought to Nigerians. And those that are bringing this hardship onto Nigerians, are doing it, for some pecuniary gains. And I want to be very, very emphatic this time around. It cuts across, everyone on that entire value chain. When you mentioned the word shocking the other time, I was just smiling because nothing is to me shocking when it comes to the oil and gas industry, particularly the downstream in Nigeria any longer. Is it not shocking if I may ask you as well that you have not heard anything from the Nigerian Labour Congress about this issue? Is it not shocking that the trade union conference are not saying anything about this? Is it not shocking that at this moment, when the government, is rounding off a government of President Muhammadu Buhari, is rounding off his 80th time, is it not shocking that it's this time that hardship is being brought onto Nigerians under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari? Don't forget that for 8 years, solid years, this President Muhammadu Buhari has been the substantive minister of petroleum resources.
Mr. Yusuf,
is it not shocking that all these things are coming?
Yeah, Mr. Yusuf, kindly hold on. Yes, he's the Minister of Petroleum, and they had in the past boasted that since his administration began, there had been no petrol scarcity. This is one of the things that they had spoken about in the past, a couple of years ago. Well, unfortunately, this is the worst that we've seen. But we'll get back to you. Stay with us, of course. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the conversation will continue this morning.
News Central TV, Africa's #1 storyteller, has come with the best of both worlds. With a combination of news app and live TV, we ensure that you keep track of the latest headlines, breaking news, and in-depth analysis from professional journalists from around the continent. Download the News Central TV app on Android and iOS and get started today. Don't forget to follow us on News Central's social media platforms. News Central, Africa First.
Welcome back to Election Countdown Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday met with the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, and the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Kebbi State Governor Abubakar Bagudu at the State House, Abuja. The meeting, at the instance of the president, was also attended by the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, and the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdulrasheed Bawa. The aim is to find a lasting solution to the lingering crisis bedeviling the electoral process come February 25th, 2023. We still have Adeola Yusuf here with us. And of course, before we come to you, let's speak about the released letter from the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, popularly called IPMAN, informing Nigerians of a shutdown of fuel stations. I think we should have that on your screen in a bit. We, of course, had yesterday Ukadike Chinedu, the national PRO IPMAN, on the news, and this is what he had to say.
Order was given by the chairman of Maiduguri Depot in conjunction with the stakeholders, because some of them who have traveled wide and far to source petroleum products from different depots and who managed to bring those products to Maiduguri with a cost. And sometimes they take it from private depot owners and they bought the product at a very high price. So they cannot be forced to sell, to be sell their prices, because when they add their logistics and the amount they buy this product from the private depot, you will find out that they are now trading at a loss. So some of the stakeholders decided to shut down their filling stations because it is very, very difficult. Maiduguri is a dry place. It's very, very difficult to take products from the wet area to the dry place. And also knowing that you spend almost 1.7 to 1.8 million naira to take stock down to Lagos or Warri or Port Harcourt, where you have the seaport, and you have the private depots.
Well, there you have it. Of course, the PRO Ipman. But now let's bring you in. From what you're hearing and what you said, are these signs that there would be cause for an increment to petrol price? And, is that where we're headed, even before we get to the place where we end subsidy, like the Nigerian government has said?
Okay. Fact of the matter is that there's already an increase in the price of the petroleum product, particularly the PMS, premium motor spirit. Listeners or viewers all over Nigeria will attest to this fact. Except in a very, very few filling stations, I don't even see there's no filling station that is selling at the price that the product was sold, in last November. Everyone has increased. There has been a general hike in the price. Although you will see that some major marketers and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, stations are still selling at a price that is below 200 naira per liter. But every one of them, has jacked up the price, since this year, from 167 to 165 to 175 now to 185 naira per liter. So, and that is what you can get around Lagos. So every other stations, every other places in Nigeria, you will not get less than 300 naira per liter. 340 per liter. So it's generally believed that there has been this increase or increment in the price of petrol. And the shocking part of this is that a Nigerian that has bought petrol at 350 or 360 naira per liter will still have government pay subsidy on that one that he has already bought at 360 or 350 per liter. They are still going to pay subsidy on this product that already high. One thing is we need to understand in a business situation is that if the government policy has created a loophole, businessmen usually catch in on that loophole, and that is what you can see marketers, all of them doing about this. You see,
Mr. Yusuf. Yeah, in the interest of time, I also want you to respond to the NNPC MD saying that the petrol scarcity will end next week. He seems pretty confident that this will be, over by next week. Is there any? Do you believe, in their words? And of course, what would you have expected the Minister of Petroleum, to have done, since October last year?
Okay, to have had that, information from NNPC is not new and is expected. But I believe it's going to be a miracle if every station by next week will be selling at 185 naira per liter, and there won't be queue in stations. I usually run away from questions that have to do with future, but I know that we should, have our fingers, crossed to wait for the miracle that, the NNPCL will perform, or the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources will perform on this. It is going to be in the best interest of Nigerians if we do not have a first scarcity of fuel crisis by next week. So we all wait to see the miracle that is coming from that end.
All right, Mr. Yusuf, thank you so much for your time this morning. Manage the petrol that you have so you don't have to go get in a queue. And we'll speak with you again, all right?
Thank you very much.
Okay.